Everything in this recipe is being measured in grams. Salt, yeast, water, and flour. We're going to use 44 grams of salt, 12 grams of yeast. Dump that in. It's going to go along with 2 kilos of double O flour and a total of 1,240 grams of water go into this recipe. So once you see the bubbles forming on top of your water, once the yeast has been whisked in, you add your flour, about half of it to start with, and then you pop that bowl right onto the KitchenAid. Here's our starter that we made. This thing has so many great bubbles and it's going to add such a great funky little sweetie yeast flavor to our dough. Started mixing on one. Eventually we're going to pick up the pace once everything comes together after we've added the second round of flour. Add our salt at the very end. Kind of fold that in, make sure it gets evenly distributed in there. Get your mixer going again. Everything's going to come together, get a little stickier. All right, now we'll turn it out onto the table and we're going to knead it until it is just the way we want it to feel. Sprinkle a little flour on top so it doesn't stick to your hands. Put some on your hands too. You're going to give it the same lazy grandma style turn that we used last time for the gluten-free dough. Just going to lean our hands into it and fold it over itself after we give it a quarter turn each time. Once it gets to about this consistency, we're almost there. We're going to give it a couple more turns and then we'll put it into a bowl and let that rest for about 2 hours. If you're doing this the overnight method, you're going to want to portion out your dough before you put it in the fridge. Otherwise, it's going to just kind of rise uncontrollably. Cover it with some damp paper towels. Once it's rested, we'll dust our surface with some double O flour. Oh wow, that rose beautifully. Turn it out onto the table. Make sure it's just exactly how you want it, and I recommend a 250 ounce portion for a solid 12-inch size pizza with a nice chewy crust. Got my helper here with me. She's a pro with the dough. So this recipe is going to give us 15 or so dough balls. Cover those and let them rest overnight if you can. If you have to use them the same day, that's all right too, but it's best if these doughs get to rest for at least 24 hours before they're used. I really like 48 hours resting time. Sometimes can't always afford that in life. You don't want to pick the dough up and kind of let it hang in its own weight as it falls down. And then you'll use the back of your hand to give it the final stretch. Once it's shaped, we'll put that right onto a wooden peel with semolina flour, which prevents the bottom of the pizza pie from sticking. We're gonna add about 2 ounces of tomato sauce. And this sauce, again, is just San Marzano tomatoes and salt. It is the simplest, most delicious sauce for this kind of pizza. Add your mozzarella cheese. You can use fresh mozzarella or shredded mozzarella. We're making a pepperoni pizza here, so we're using a shredded mozzarella. Brush the edges with olive oil, just so that nice crust bubble comes up on the crust, and the heat from the oven makes it really get some nice color and texture. You're going to want to give the pizza a turn every 10 to 12 seconds or so if you're using a ROCCBOX or an uni or something similar to that that has a lot of firepower behind it. Wow, this pizza came out perfect. Thanks for watching. See you next time on ProChefCuts.